So the different home categories, guys. There's condominiums, townhomes, and single families. I'll explain each and every one of these. Condominiums are individually owned living spaces with shared common areas. They do have an elective homeowners association, so they call it the HOA, right? All of the owners have to pay these HOA dues, okay? And the HOA can impose rules and restrictions, right? You guys are sharing walls. I'm going to explain this last one, but the HOA review is more important than doing an inspection, and I'll explain that more later. So now let's go to townhomes. Townhomes are zero lot line homes that are individually owned. So the townhome, there's common space maintenance sometimes. They're generally lower maintenance than a single family, but more than a condo. Usually for some townhomes, unless they're run like a condo, you're not responsible for your neighbor's buildings. You just own your own building, but then you'll have to pay HOA dues for like the master's insurance or like the common area maintenance. So townhomes can be freestanding or you could share a wall. And then for the single family, as you guys know, they're like standalone homes with city enforced yard setbacks. I'm not going to talk about the different zoning laws. But basically, there's very few restrictions with your house. The only thing is you have to follow code within your land. So let's just say you had a 10,000 square foot lot. You can't just build like 3 other tiny homes and then rent those out. You have to follow the zoning laws. So inspections are very important when you're buying a single family home because basically if there's a problem with your house, you're going to be responsible. So just keep that in mind. Now, I'm going to go back to condominiums. Now, guys, for all of you guys, I want you to keep this in mind that condominiums on a worst case scenario versus renting still makes sense, but I don't prefer buying condominiums, okay? If you had to buy something, you could buy a condominium and still, get all the tax benefits and build your equity. But keep in mind, a condominium has problems. I don't like HOAs. I don't like the fact that someone can reach into your pocket at any time and basically take money from it. I budget very meticulously and I don't like variable expenses. That is definitely a variable expense. If your neighbor breaks a pipe in his unit and the HOA has to pay for it, sometimes they're going to come to you and be like, hey, everybody, you're all going to have to pay $10,000 in special assessment. And I personally don't like that feeling of not being in control. The second thing is that reviewing the HOA and how it is managed is vitally important. I would rather you guys rent for the rest of your lives than getting into a homeowners association situation where, for example, they cannot agree to increase the HOA dues because they need it because there's like deferred maintenance. So let's just say all of the siding in the buildings, they have siding issues, right? It's starting to fail. But the HOAs, they can't agree. None of them want to, or let's just say 70% of them don't want higher HOA dues because they're struggling financially or something, right? In that case, if they're not fixing the siding, then eventually the siding's going to fail and then the water is going to intrude into the actual framing, the foundation of the house. And what could happen is there could be rotting and that, let's just say, $1 million fix to fix all the siding now became a $3 million fix because now the framing of the building has been compromised. So keep that in mind. I do not like condominiums because of that reason, but a very well-maintained HOA is a different story, and I believe that makes sense. So I would suggest to you guys, try to buy a townhome or single family where you're not liable for your neighbor's problems, okay?